Today's story is not just about a Christmas special. It's not about wrapping gifts, cooking food, or decorating a tree. It's not even about Meghan Markle. Not really. What we are watching unfold this week, with critics foaming at the mouth and newspapers scrambling to insult one another, is yet another chapter in a long, exhausting saga. The British media's pathological obsession with destroying Meghan Markle at all costs. Because, let's be honest, 0-star reviews, 1-star reviews across the board. From the Daily Mail, the Times, the Guardian, the Independent, the Telegraph, the Standard, all agreeing, all attacking, all launching on the exact same day. That isn't criticism. That's a coordinated editorial hit. And we have seen it before. They did it when she announced the show. They did it when she launched Archetypes. They did it when she released her cookbook. They did it when she released her lifestyle brand. They even did it when she produced children's content. And now, because the woman dared to make a Christmas special, the British media decided it was time to fire all torpedoes. You know what that tells us? It has nothing to do with the quality of the show. It is about the idea of Meghan, a black woman, American, confident, self-made, and refusing to bow to the crown or the British press daring to exist. But today we're going to break the entire situation down. Not just the reviews, but the culture, the bias, the psychology, and the economics behind it. Because if we simply take the reviews at face value, we're missing the bigger truth. And the bigger truth is this: Meghan's Christmas special was never allowed to succeed, not in Britain's media ecosystem. Not in a country where royal commentary is built on misogyny, racism, and nostalgia for a monarchy that cannot survive without a villain. Today, we pull back the curtain. Let's start with the most glaring red flag: 0 stars. 1 star, across the board. The Daily Mail's reviewer described Meghan as syrupy, hypocritical, and lacking self-awareness. The Times called it unfathomable. The Telegraph said the show was quite mad and a little bit sad. The Independent called it not fun, enjoyable, or aspirational. The Guardian said it was offensive. Offensive? A Christmas special? About cookies? How? How do you get offended by a woman decorating an advent calendar or making a wreath or wrapping a cuddly toy? How does someone look at Meghan adding a lavender scent to Lily's Christmas cracker and say, "This is deeply harmful"? I feel offended. Really? But the real giveaway is not in the negativity. It's in the uniformity. When every major outlet suddenly decides to use the exact same tone, the exact same criticisms, the exact same metaphors, and even the same vocabulary. That's not independent thought. That's narrative alignment. British press culture has a known habit. When they want to take someone down, they do it in unison. And the dog pile after "With Love, Meghan holiday celebration" reads more like a synchronized political takedown than a serious review. If Meghan had sat stiffly with a clipboard reading instructions for a Christmas turkey, these same reviewers would still have found something to hate. Because the story was written long before the show was filmed. Let's talk about what the special actually included, because this is where the hypocrisy really cracks open. Here's what the Christmas special showed. Meghan cooking with friends, Meghan teaching crafts, Meghan sharing family traditions, Meghan giving personal anecdotes, Meghan making crackers for Harry and the kids, Meghan hosting brunch, Meghan making wreaths, Meghan laughing, smiling, enjoying herself, Meghan being a wife, a mum, a friend, a homemaker. Now pause. Notice anything? This is the exact image of domestic femininity. The British press has always claimed Meghan doesn't embody. For years they called her a social climber, a Hollywood diva, a narcissist, a woman who won't fit into royal traditions, a woman who rejects English customs, a woman too American and too modern. But now that she shows the world, she does love Christmas, do love traditional crafts, do love family rituals, do love homemade food, do love passing traditions to her children. Suddenly it is fake, hypocritical, syrupy, self-obsessed, numbing content. You see how the system works? Meghan isn't attacked for what she does. Meghan is attacked for who she is. If Kate Middleton had made the exact same episode, identical frame for frame, the headlines would be, "Kate's Cozy Christmas, the princess shows her warmest side yet. Kate's delicious holiday, recipes melt hearts. The Princess of Wales balances motherhood, tradition and joy in festive special." But Meghan makes a Christmas dish, and suddenly it's white noise, drivel, offensive, unfathomable, numbing content, fake, sad. That isn't criticism, that is punishment. Punishment for stepping outside the box they assigned her. Punishment for moving on with her life. Punishment for smiling. Punishment for thriving. Punishment for refusing to be miserable. The British media needs Meghan to fail because Meghan is what keeps their royal coverage alive. Now we need to address the elephant in the room, the one the critics pretend not to see. The reason Meghan cannot win, not with cookies, not with crafts, not with motherhood, not with charity, is because she is a biracial woman who married into a historically white institution. The British media will never admit this outright, but their language exposes them every single time. Words they use constantly about Meghan: bossy, difficult, narcissistic, hypocritical, fake, unlikable, lacking self-awareness, trying too hard, desperate for attention. These aren't critiques of performance. They are personality attacks, deeply gendered, deeply racialized. When Meghan hugs a friend, she's performing. When Meghan cooks, she's pretending. When Meghan decorates, she's fake domestic. When Meghan shares stories about her children, she's oversharing. When Meghan says she enjoys Christmas, she's stealing British traditions. It doesn't matter what she does. She is always wrong. Meghan is too American for the British press, too confident, too outspoken, too independent, too comfortable in her own skin. And above all, Meghan doesn't need their approval. That's the real crime. Because a woman who doesn't need the British press is a woman they cannot control. Let's break down some of the actual criticisms. 1. She makes crafts but doesn't show how to do them. Excuse me? It's a Christmas lifestyle special, not a technical tutorial. Martha Stewart doesn't show every measurement. Nigella Lawson doesn't walk through every fold of wrapping paper. Mary Berry doesn't list every detail in her holiday shows. But Meghan? She must show the audience step-by-step directions, like she's a craft instructor at Hobby Lobby. Ridiculous. 1. It's numbing content. It's Christmas entertainment. It's supposed to be relaxing, cosy, seasonal, comforting. The critics are angry that it wasn't a documentary about royal scandals, because that's all they want from Meghan: trauma, conflict, confession, pain. She gave them joy instead. Unforgivable. 1. She is syrupy. Translation: a woman smiling while baking is somehow offensive to us. Why is Meghan's joy a threat? Because her happiness dismantles the narrative they've built for years that she is miserable, lonely, depressed and isolated. 1. She shows friends who aren't actually her friends. The same critics called her friendless. Now they're angry she has friends? Pick a lane. 1. It feels fake. Everything on television is produced. Everything in royal coverage is staged, everything in lifestyle content is polished. But apparently Meghan must be raw, unfiltered, dishevelled, vulnerable, and crying at all times, or it isn't authentic. This is emotional policing, plain and simple. If only she could lean into her waspish type A personality, cutely like Monica from Friends, she could be endearing. Translation: we want Meghan to be a stereotype. They want her to act like the quirky, neurotic, overachieving sitcom character, the harmless, adorable, non-threatening woman who makes herself the punchline. But that is not Meghan. She is not a caricature. She is not a clown. She is a confident, articulate, accomplished woman. And the British press hates confident women, especially women who don't apologise for taking up space. This is why they love Kate. Kate is everything the institution wants. Silent, compliant, never contradicting, never challenging, never speaking up, never revealing anything. But Meghan actually expresses opinions. She narrates her own life. She speaks her truth, and that is perceived as arrogance. The funniest part of all this, even when they think they're insulting Meghan, they end up revealing the real issue, how threatened they are by her independence. Let's look at what the Telegraph critic wrote about Naomi Osaka. She looks like she's desperate to go home. How? Why? Based on what? Naomi Osaka, one of the most introverted athletes in the world, came to decorate plates and make crafts. This wasn't an interrogation. She wasn't held hostage. Yet the reviewer added this imaginary discomfort just to push a narrative. No one likes Meghan. It is scripted hostility. Now look at the Guardian critic's line. I feel both offended and harmed. Harmed? By a Christmas special? Really? The only thing getting harmed is the British media's ability to control the royal narrative. One of the most revealing parts of the episode was Meghan making an advent calendar for Archie and Lily. I love you because you are kind. I love you because you are brave. A normal, sweet moment, but the critics twisted even this. One review said she was manufacturing intimacy. Another said she was overly earnest. Another said it was cringe. Imagine hating a mother for telling her children she loves them. Meanwhile, Kate writes a letter in cursive with an ink pen, and the headlines are, "The Princess of Wales warms the nation." The future Queen touches hearts again. Meghan makes a Christmas calendar and gets unfathomable, predictably insipid. Sad. We are witnessing two completely different standards. One woman is graded on effort, the other is graded on existence. Let's talk about Harry's cameo, because this part especially infuriated the press. In the episode, Harry walks into the kitchen, smells gumbo hugs, Meghan jokes about food he doesn't like, eats Christmas dishes, teases that Meghan's gumbo isn't as good as her mother's, smiles, laughs, looks relaxed, kisses Meghan on camera, supports his wife, lives his life, and the critics lost their minds. Why? Because Harry looked happy. The British press cannot monetize a happy Harry. They need him miserable, broken, regretting everything. They need the narrative that Harry wants to return, that he misses the royals, that he's frustrated, isolated, controlled by Meghan. But on camera, we saw none of that. We saw a husband who is comfortable, a man who is not trapped, a man free of royal pressure, a man joking, eating and enjoying normal life, a man who is not desperate to run back to Buckingham Palace. This is why the Telegraph mocked his reaction to the salad, why they called it awkward, why they painted Meghan's kitchen as hostile terrain. The British press must convince readers that Meghan is the villain even when she's literally feeding Harry gumbo. Now, here is where the hypocrisy becomes too obvious to ignore. Think about Kate Middleton's content. Kate makes a children's garden. Instant praise. Kate bakes Christmas cakes with Mary Berry. Heartwarming. Kate releases a piano performance. Elegant. Kate hosts a carol concert. The nation's sweetheart. Kate films videos in a kitchen. Down to earth. Kate does a craft with school children. Charming. Kate wears an apron. Relatable. Kate arranges flowers. Beautiful. But Meghan makes bread crackers, crafts, cookies, trees, advent calendars, wrapping hacks, home traditions. And suddenly the critics say, pointless, unimprovable, unfathomable, sad, mad, numbing, fake, desperate, drivel, same actions, different woman, different skin colour, different treatment, and the media thinks we don't see it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Meghan is the royal media's business model. Every time they attack her, they get clicks, they sell papers, they generate ad revenue, they keep the royal drama machine alive, because without Meghan and Harry, what do they have? A king who is ill, a princess who is recovering, a monarchy that is shrinking, 0 young working royals. No global star power, no content. Meghan is the lifeline. She is their storyline. She is the villain in their soap opera. She is the generator of outrage they depend on. And this is why the Christmas special had to be destroyed. Not because it was bad, because it existed. Let's imagine for 1 second that this exact show had been hosted by Joanna Gaines, Reese Witherspoon, Drew Barrymore, Martha Stewart, Nigella Lawson, Sophie Dahl, Melania, Trump, Ivanka, Trump, Princess Kate. Would we get 0 stars? 1 star? Absolutely not. We'd have headlines like cosy, charming, festive, warm, beautifully shot, heartfelt traditions, a new holiday classic. But when Meghan does it, they describe it like a war crime, because their goal is not truth. Their goal is sabotage. The only positive review came from the Express. Why is that interesting? Because the Express has a very simple strategy. They write positive stories about Meghan only when they know her success will attract massive traffic. This tells us something important. Even critics who hate her know that Meghan's content is watched, discussed, shared, and profitable. If Meghan were truly irrelevant, they could ignore her, but they can't. She is the headline generator. Which brings us to the final truth. What scares the British press the most about this episode? That it shows Meghan is happy, stable, thriving, loved, settled, domestic content, successful, supported by family, living a well-adjusted life, mentally and emotionally grounded, enjoying motherhood, enjoying marriage, enjoying her home, enjoying her work, unbothered by noise because they need her to be, miserable, regretful, desperate, isolated, struggling, fighting with Harry, longing for royal life, falling apart, failing in Hollywood. But the Christmas special ironically showed the opposite of their fantasy. It showed that Meghan is fine. Better than fine, she is joyful. And joy is the one thing they cannot stand to see on her face. Meghan's Christmas special was not a scandal. It wasn't a disaster. It wasn't a failure. It was a simple, soft, quiet, cosy lifestyle show. But it became a scandal because the British media cannot tolerate the idea of Meghan being normal. They want her broken. She gave them festive cinnamon stars. They want her humiliated. She gave them handmade wreaths. They want her crying. She gave them Christmas brunch with friends. They want her silenced. She gave them a platform. They want her erased. She gave them content so wholesome it confused them. And that, ironically, is what they hate most. Not the crafts, not the recipes, not the wrapping, not the advent calendar. They hate that Meghan doesn't hate her life. They hate that her joy didn't die when she left the monarchy. They hate that she is moving on. And they absolutely, categorically, unquestionably hate this. Meghan Markle is building a life that the British press cannot control. That is the real story, that is the real threat, and that is why a Christmas special of all things was treated like a national emergency. And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive. If you've made it this far, thank you. You are the reason we can keep cutting through the noise, challenging the media narratives, and shining a light on the truth behind the headlines. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode here on the Sussex Insights. This community is growing every single day, and your support helps us push back against misinformation and give Harry and Meghan the fair coverage they deserve. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them, and let me know what you want us to investigate next. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.